All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. And then there were four, as we just have four teams left in this Major League Baseball season that are going to have an opportunity, or still have an opportunity rather, to claim the World Series championship. And it was a very interesting divisional round to say the least. Only one of the top seeds that had the first round bye was able to advance, and we're really going to see who has what it takes to get to the Fall Classic. Now, I want to start with the American League and the American League Championship Series, as this is going to be a battle like no other. I mean, you're talking about two teams from the great state of Texas and the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers. And of course, there's no love lost between these two teams. This is their first time meeting in the postseason. And I think we're in store for a thriller. Both of these teams won 90 games during the regular season, and home field advantage was basically decided in that last week of the season rather. The Rangers rather had an opportunity to salt away the division. They didn't. The Astros took advantage of that, and because of that, Houston has home field advantage in this series, which could play big. Now, this is Houston's seventh consecutive trip to the American League Championship Series. They are the defending World Series champions, and they're looking to do something that has not been done since the New York Yankees from 1998 to 2001, which is to make three consecutive appearances in the World Series. Now, veteran Justin Verlander is set to get the ball for the Astros tomorrow night, and he's going to be opposed by Jordan Montgomery. Both of these guys were trade deadline acquisitions by their respective clubs. Both of them really were a part of their teams getting to the postseason. And on top of that, both of them here in the postseason are a reason why each club is continuing to play. Now, pitching is going to be at a premium in both of these series, and both the Rangers and Astros have it. You look for the Rangers. Max Scherzer is expected to be back for them in this series. And I mean, it'll be very interesting if at some point in this season, or in this series rather, Justin Verlander gets the bump in a game, and in that same game, Max Scherzer gets the bump as well. Both of them were in spring training with the New York Mets. Both of them were traded to their respective teams by the Mets prior to the trade deadline, and now they have an opportunity to offset each other here in the postseason. But you look at Nathan Eovaldi for Texas; he's been solid, and the Rangers have gotten good starting pitching throughout this series as well. Pardon me, throughout this postseason rather, as well as their starting pitching. We know that Texas is going to hit. I mean, they've got a deep and talented lineup. You look at the likes of Adalis Garcia, Corey Seager, and of course Marcus Simeon, but it's that pitching. And right now, veteran manager Bruce Bochy, who is in his first year with Texas, he has his finger on the pulse of this team. And that's going to be important because he's going up against a battle tested team. Now, behind Verlander, what are the Astros going to get from Christian Javier when he takes the mound? This Astros bullpen, they just continue to come out with arms each and every series, each and every year, and find ways to get it done. And then we're talking about deep lineups. The Astros don't give you a break either. You got Kyle Tucker, you got Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, and of course, the last thing that you want if you're the Rangers, you don't want to see Jordan Alvarez at the plate with guys on base. And the same thing could be said, for this Astros pitching staff with the likes of Adalis Garcia. Guys like that could change the tenor of a game with one stroke of the bat. Jeremy Pena, this is a guy who is a slick fielding shortstop, and he's a youngster. But if you don't pay attention to him, he can go out there and get those key hits that the Astros are going to need in this series. Then you got the likes of Jose Abreu and Michael Brantley as well. So again, like I said, there's really not a soft spot, if you will, in this Houston lineup. You got two veteran managers, Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy. They've been doing it for a very long time. Had so many battles against one another in the National League West when Baker was a manager of the Giants, and then of course when Bochy at that point was the manager of the San Diego Padres. Both of them have been around the game. Both of them are baseball lifers. Both of them have World Series championships on their resume, and both of them are definitely Cooperstown bound when it's all said and done. There's nothing that you're going to show Dusty Baker or Bruce Bochy from a baseball standpoint that they do not know. They know their ins and outs. I look at this series, I think this has the makings to be arguably the best series of the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. It's going to be a lot of swings of momentum throughout this series, throughout most of the games for the matter. I think the intensity is going to be there between Globe Life Park and of course the Astros home stadium down there in Houston, Minute Maid Park. So when it's all said and done, this is to me one of those series kind of like the Phillies and Braves from round one, where you could just really go out there and flip a coin. And I've gone back and forth over it all day. But if you're going to beat the Astros, you better pack a lunch. And if you're going to beat the Astros, the Rangers have the team to do it. But with that said, Houston is just so battle tested. And because of that, I'm going to take the Astros to get back to the World Series in 7 games. Now, moving on to the National League side, you've got the six-seeded Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the fourth-seeded Philadelphia Phillies. And for the second consecutive year, the NLCS is going to feature a pair of wild card teams. But the Diamondbacks and Phillies are wild card teams like no other because for a chunk of the first half of this season, Arizona was in first place in the National League West. They were setting the tone. The second half saw them have those ebbs and flows. They were going up and down like the stock market, and they did just enough at the end to get into the postseason. And now they are riding a wave of momentum. They have not lost so far in these playoff proceedings. On the flip side, for the Phillies, they were the Diamondbacks last year. They got in, they got rolling, and they rode that wave of momentum to a National League pennant. And the Phillies won 90 games this year. It's just the fact that they just happen to play in the same division as the Atlanta Braves. But this is a talented team, and we've seen it so far here in this postseason run for the Fighting Phils. For Arizona, I think what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to do what they did against the Dodgers. They got to go out there and start fast. And I think Citizens Bank is going to be a lot louder than it was in Milwaukee when the Diamondbacks were there. It's going to be a lot louder than Dodger Stadium was. So it's going to be imperative for Arizona to come out and put up another crooked number again to try to quiet that crowd at Citizens Bank. Because if you give the Phillies life, they're going to take it. And that crowd alone at Citizens Bank will try to will this team to victory. So that the focus is going to be on the likes of Corbin Carroll and Cattell Marte in this lineup for Arizona. And then on the flip side, with their pitching staff, with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, can they find a way to slow down this hot hitting Phillies lineup? And again, Philadelphia is one of those teams. They're really not going to give you a soft spot in this lineup. Trey Turner is starting to look like the Trey Turner that the Phillies were hopeful to get when they gave him all of that money in free agency last year. He came on in the second half of the season, and now he's taking it to another level here in October. That's going to be important. Bryce Harper is playing like an MVP. Nick Castellanos has got it going, and then you got the likes of Alec Baum, excuse me, JT Real Muto, Bryson Stott, and of course Kyle Schwarber, who's not going to hit for average, but if you leave one over the plate, you know what? He's going to put it over the fence. That's the way it is. This pitching staff for Philadelphia, Aaron Nola's pitching for a contract, and he's going to get it from somebody in the offseason. Probably won't be Philadelphia. You got Zach Wheeler, and you got some other veterans in that lineup, and then this Philadelphia bullpen. So I look at it like this: Philadelphia has the edge because they've been there and done that. They are the defending National League champions, and I think because of that, I think you gotta give them the advantage for this series. Arizona, the Diamondbacks are playing with house money. Nobody expected them to get here, and nobody expected them to get here in the fashion that they did. But the Diamondbacks are here. The Diamondbacks are for real, and they do have what it takes to get to the World Series. However, Philadelphia is the better team. I think Philadelphia is the more determined team, and I think that is going to show throughout this series. That's I'm going to take the Fighting Phils to get back to the World Series in 6 games. So, folks, Those are my picks for the league championship series. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'd be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.